Yes, that's right. It's a late night stream. We're going an hour later than we normally do because I got sidetracked. I wouldn't say sidetracked. I had family stuff I had to take care of, and that's all been sorted out. And now it's time to jump into that live stream because I really wanted to get to this. Clorox had an excellent suggestion tonight. Hopefully Clawpaw will make it unless he went back to bed. If Clawpaw makes it, awesome. If not, good on him for getting some sleep because it is wicked early in the morning over where he is right now in Europe. Soak Soccer, Joe Math, thanks for joining. That's awesome to see you. Glad to see my ping on the Discord server got everyone's attention. And yeah, let me just grab that for anyone else that wants to join the live stream here, or excuse me, the Discord. I mean, obviously, if you're joining the live stream, you're doing that right now. But here's the Discord. There we go. Discord up. Hopefully everyone can hear me. And let's get on with the request here. Let's see here. I had a note there. All right, so there's that. Okay, and we had a couple monster requests. Cool. Okay, so Clorox requested one that really wanted my attention and wanted to see this. It's going to be a shorts later on in the week also, which is going to be excellent. And let me check one more thing just to make sure I got everything going here properly. All right, looks like my microphone's going, so we should be good to go there. Okay, let me switch over to the live scene here. And we are looking at Vecna the Archlich tonight. Just released on D&D Beyond, and pretty much the only place you can get Vecna right now through his dossier. Grab it while it's free, everyone, if you haven't already grabbed it. But let's take a look at this medium undead wizard, the Vecna the Archlich, also known as, what do we got here? The Undying King, the Whispered One, and the Lord of the Rotted Tower. All right, cool. A bunch of lore, some other cool stuff. I like the art, too. The art is pretty impressive. And his book is tomed within his torso. It's pretty cool. The Game Fools, hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining this later than usual late night live stream of D&D CR Exposed. We are looking at Vecna the Archlich, if you hadn't heard me once already, and we're going to expose this CR 26 monster and see what comes up and what happens. All right, let me reset my tool here, and we'll start jumping through this and see what happens. I guess it really depends on what realm Vecna comes from. I've always known him as at least seemingly gendered male. I have no idea what his pronouns or what their pronouns would actually be, but for the sake of this, I'm going with male. Okay, so Vecna. We have AC 18. So we'll pop that in there. And hit dice, 32 D8 plus 128, which is insane. 32 hit dice there. We're going to throw in the Constitution bonus of 18 for +4 for every hit dice we have. So we have a total hit point pool of 272. But that's going to change. Now that we have all of our basic stats and stuff, we're going to look at the skills area here and see what Vecna has going on. Vecna has 3 saving throws, and we're going to modify that right over here with 3 to 4 saving throws, giving us a +2 effective AC bonus, already pumping up our 18 AC to a 20. Also, we're going to put in the expected CR of 26, just for purposes of other factors going on with like resistances and whatnot. And speaking of resistances, he has resistances to Cold, Lightning, Necrotic, but if we put in resistances, and since he's over CR 16, there's going to be no bonus there. As we see down here, 1 times the hit point bonus. But he does have a whole bunch of damage immunities. Poison, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. So let us update that to immunities. And we'll see now that Vecna here is getting a 25% hit point bonus, pushing our DCR up even further. Now, everything else here doesn't matter for the purposes of, exposing that CR 26. So we're going to move down into his very small amount of actions, which is surprising. So we have legendary resistances of 5 per day, which is one of the highest amounts. I think the only other ones that I've seen that have this many legendary resistances so far are also Bahamut and Tiamat. I think those are the only other two that have at least 5 legendary resistances. So we'll go ahead and pop that in for an extra 150 effective hit points over the course of, his encounter. After that, we have special equipment. Vecna has a dagger called Afterthought. It doesn't really make much difference here except if anyone else steals Afterthought from him. Vecna is also undying, so if he is ever dead, he comes back 1d 100 years later. And then unusual nature, Vecna doesn't require air, food, drink, or sleep. So we don't have to worry about anything else, and we can just move right down into the action sections. Now, here's the interesting thing. Vecna doesn't have any legendary actions, which was pointed out by someone that comments a lot on my videos, which is excellent. And he pointed out to me that there's nothing here for legendary actions. But what we do have are 3 reactions per round, which is pretty similar to how legendary actions work. But we only have 2 options. So we'll look at that in a little bit here. So we have a multi-attack of Flight of the Damned, if available, Rotten Fate, or Spellcasting. He does, however, make spellcasters' lives absolute hell. Oh, that is for sure, Games Fools. That is for sure, with an at-will Dispel Magic and Animate Dead, plus a couple other spells here from this very limited amount of spells. And then the reactions. Yes. The Dread counterspell for the reaction. This is just a nightmare, pretty much on any level, to fight this dude. So, after that we have Rotten Fate and Spellcasting, and then on top of that, Vecna can make 2 attacks with Afterthought. Isn't the Sword of Kaz something to Vecna? Yes, there is some stories up here about the Kaz and the betrayal, and Kaz running off with the sword. So, in this instance, Vecna doesn't have the Sword of Kaz, because Kaz has it somewhere with him. So we only have Afterthought, and Afterthought is a plus 13 to hit. So we'll add that in down here on the side, and then we'll start adding in the attacks for Afterthought. Now this one's pretty interesting. I've already looked at this stat block before, and we'll see that initially we're getting 7.5 damage from the Pierce itself. So we'll have 7.5, and then we have 9 necrotic damage after that. And then on top of that, if the target is a creature and is affected by the entropic magic, they take 9 damage at the start of each of its turns. Immediately following the damage, they can make a Constitution save. So this lingering damage is kind of similar to Swallow. When monsters swallow a creature, we could say that we'll probably see 2 more rounds of damage before the Constitution save is fought off. So the easiest way to do that is we can either throw it into the Swallow trait on the side here, or we can just add +9/+9. So that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to do another +9 for round 2, and then another +9 for round 3. And every time Vecna hits with Afterthought, he's effectively doing 34.5 points of damage every combined, for all 3 rounds of combat combined. And then, there'll be lingering effects if we goes on to rounds 4 and 5 for the 3rd attack, or well, actually it would be 5th and 6th attacks on round 3. So for all intents and purposes, Afterthought will deal 34.5 average damage. After that, we have Flight of the Damned. And Flight of the Damned is an AoE, which makes a Constitution save. And then after that, creatures that fail take 36 points of damage, and they're frightened. Now, at this level, hey, Clawpaw, there you are. Welcome, dude. Sorry, I canceled the initial 10 o'clock one, only to suddenly say, I've got plenty of energy. Let's do a late night stream. So thanks for joining up. We are partway through Vecna. Yes, nice. Thanks for joining, bud. So Flight of the Damned, since the frightened condition is over CR10, we don't bother putting in frightened because it just doesn't really affect players at this high a level. So we're only going to do the damage here for Flight of the Damned, which is going to be 36 times 2 for 2 failed saves worth of damage. Now this could be 4 players that save, 1 player that fails and 2 players that save, or 2 players that outright fail as well. But of course, this Flight of the Damned could do more damage if more players fail, as tends to, that could happen. Who knows? It depends on if the dice are rolling hot or not that night. And hopefully they would be rolling hot for the players fighting Vecna. All right. Next up, we have Rotten Fate, which only targets one creature, but they have to make a Constitution save, and then they end up taking 96 points of damage. And then, if they're killed by this spell, they rise as a zombie on the next turn. So, cool. 96 points of damage, and so far our highest damage dealing ability here. Now, we have a bunch of options here for, our multi-attack. We can do Flight of the Damned, then 2 Afterthoughts, Rotten Fate, then 2 Afterthoughts, or we can do spell casting. Now here's the thing. Nothing that I've seen in here really hits the level of effective damage per round as, Rotten Fate plus Afterthought twice. If 4 fails, put those D20s to jail. That's for sure, Joe Math. So with the multi-attack option of spellcasting and then 2 Afterthoughts, the closest damage-wise, highest amount of damage would be Lightning Bolt at 56 average damage and then 2 Afterthoughts. But the 56 is less than our Flight of the Damned and our Rotten Fate here. So we don't really need to worry about spellcasting because nothing else is really going to hit that level. Globe of Invulnerability is just really to save Vecna's undead butt. And as same with Plane Shift and Dominate Monster, although, that would be... I'm surprised it's not Dominate Person, to be honest, but I'm sure there's reasons for it. So we're just going to do the multi-attacks for Rotten Fate and Flight of the Damned plus 2 Afterthoughts. So the first one, Rotten Fate plus Afterthought times 2, will give us a total of 165 there. And then we also have Flight of the Damned plus 2 Afterthoughts as well, giving us a total of 141 there. Now, as I said before, we don't have any legendary actions, but we do have bonus actions and 3 reactions you can take in 1 round of combat, which is insane, but a good way to switch out the whole legendary actions thing and really just putting it into a reaction state, which is kind of cool. Now, for the bonus action of Vile Teleport, and if you already hear me laughing, it's because I've looked at this stat block and it's just absurd what happens here. I initially thought that when Vecna does his Vile Teleport and lands next to someone, they have to make a Constitution save or something. Totally overlooked that, and it's just straight damage. If he is within 10 feet of somebody, they just take 10 points of psychic damage. So we're going to go ahead and put 10.5 there. And then on top of that, he's going to regen 80 hit points. So why wouldn't Vecna just, Vile Teleport next to someone every round as a bonus action? So we're going to go ahead and over here pop in 80 regeneration for every round of combat because more than likely he's going to teleport next to someone to get that. And that gives us an extra 240 effective hit points. Well, actually not effective, but actual hit points, plus the 150 effective hit points from Legendary Resistance. And now we're up to 730 effective hit points. So, his DCR is really getting ranked up there. Yikes is right. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Game Fools. The Vile Teleport doesn't save. There's no save on it. He just does the damage, and then he heals that 80 hit points. I am surprised he is technically he's a less CR than, not Bahamut, but Tiamat. I'm really surprised he's not a 30 as well, to be honest. Or technically higher. So, now that we have the bonus action out of the way, let's take a look at the reactions. He can do 3 times. 3 times per round, Vecna can do either Dread Counterspell, which he just basically counters anything 4th level or lower, or then Vecna makes an intelligence check of DC plus the spell, and then if it fails, or on a success the spell fails and has no effect, whatever the spell's level, the caster takes 10.5 psychic damage if the spell fails. Now, that's cool. More than likely, there's going to be spells because this is Vecna. Why wouldn't there be spellcasters slinging spells? So, Vecna has every round at least up to 3 chances to counter spells that he feels need to be countered. Then on top of that, anyone that hits him gets a Fell Rebuke, which is just the same as the Warlock Retribution spell. I can't think of the name of it at the moment. But, once again, there's no saves to it. He just points at someone that hit him, rebukes them, and they take 10.5 necrotic damage as well, and then he teleports 30 feet away somewhere. But there's no explosion of damage like Vile Teleport. So he just moves. Hellish Rebuke. Thank you, Game Fools. Perfect. So, for our reactions, we can guarantee 10.5 damage times 3 every round for 31.5 points of damage from his reactions. He's going to get hit, and he's going to have spells slinging at him, for sure. Yes, for the Warlocks. Thank you. So, with that, and we see that our multi-attack of 165 coming from, what was it, Rotten Fate plus the Afterthought is our highest combos we can do here. So, we're just going to take the combination of Rotten Fate plus the Afterthought, or oops, we don't have to do that. We already have that. The multi-attack here of Rotten Fate plus the Afterthought, 2 strikes. Then we're going to do our bonus attack, which we're going to add on top of that. So we're going to get the 10.5 for our bonus and another 31.5 for our multi-attack. Or, excuse me, reaction. And so that is, we're looking at 207 damage per round with everything that Vecna can do. And we're going to do that every round of combat. So round 2, we're going to do it again. And round 3, we're going to do it again. And that's everything Vecna can do. I mean, on top of that, we do have the spells, and the spells will modify his CR a little bit. Like, Animate Dead's not going to modify his CR. It's going to increase the encounter difficulty, but, you know, in essence, it could reduce his CR a bit because the Animate Dead are working after him and whatnot. And then the whole Dispel. So there's a little bit of a CR dip for using spells that aren't bringing out the damage. But as we see here, CR technically, or Vecna is technically a CR 27 at the moment. But because we have damage immunities here, we got to remove that in case the immunities are bypassed. And I'm really certain our players, at the level they're going to go and fight Vecna, are going to have magical weapons. So we don't have to worry about the immunities here. What happens when we remove the immunities and they're bypassed? When you know it, Vecna is the CR 26. The stat blocks they gave us here, excluding spells, which honestly he doesn't really need to use the spells because all of his offensive spells are right here in his actions, bonus actions, and reactions. He is a CR 26 encounter as printed on the D&D Beyond character stat block here. This is a perfect stat block. I love how D&D has removed the majority of spells, making spellcasters so much easier to work with and just putting all of the damaging offensive spells in the actual actions now, and it makes life so much easier. Vecna is a CR 26, even rated just angry old wizard god. Yeah, with all those, my character would rather flee than to fight. That is for sure. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Joe Math. Oh man, that's funny. Okay, so there you have it. There is Vecna, the vile one, or however else you want to pronounce him. The Archlich. What do we have here? Like I said, the Undying King, the Whispered One, and the Lord of the Rotten Tower. A CR 26 as printed on D&D Beyond, which is fantastic to see. And the funny part is, you gotta, okay, there it is. I was gonna say, what is the whole thing with the Book of Vile Darkness? But I didn't look into that. I'm sure if he's using that, then it's going to really mess with his stat block. But I haven't looked into that. But what's printed here works out perfectly. Okay, so moving on. That was Clorox's request, and isn't that on the probably? It probably is. Let's see what happens when we click here. What does it do? Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff here for it. I'll have to look at that later on and see how it might affect him. But yeah, it's an artifact, so yeah. That was a terrifying thing, for sure. Okay, now that we've taken a look at that, let's get into Clawpaw's request on the Discord server and see what we have here for another, Monster Hunter monster. The Magnomalo. So I'm going to bring that onto the screen here. And let's get that artwork into scene here. And then we will take a look at this one for Monster Hunter Rise. Yay, Infernal Kitty. Yes, Infernal Kitty time. All right, so now that we have Vecna worked out, we are going to take a look at this one here and see where we're at afterwards. Also, if you're curious to see, the Vecna Shorts is going to be pushed into the Monday slot coming this week. A lot of people were on TikTok were asking about it, so I'm pushing it into the YouTube schedule for this week. Otherwise, I would have had to have waited till next week, and I want to get on it right now since, you know, it's brand new and people are going to be curious about it. All right, let's take a look at this Magnomalo, a huge monstrosity. All right, starting off, we have a 20 AC, not 203. It is a huge, huge monstrosity. Napoleon Mitchell. I'm a little behind because I wanted to rewind and see how to do all this, but just saying hello and good job on all your videos. Thank you so much, Napoleon. Thanks for rewinding and starting from the beginning. And if you're catching up live now, you know, you're just in time to watch the Monster Hunter custom monster here, and we can take a look at that. Let's see here. One call, Paul. Found this on the internet, and I would brew it a bit differently, but hey, let's use it. Yeah, exactly. It's already been done, so see how it comes out. Soak Soccer. How does my TikTok following compare to my YouTube following? I have more followers on TikTok, but not nearly as much interaction. Let's go to my TikTok real quick. So I'm just starting to put the battle tactics up because I'm having that heavy switch to more battle tactics, and people are really loving them over here. So I've got a little over 4K followers there, and I'm trying to push them towards YouTube, since YouTube is my primary form of interacting with everyone. And yeah, the response is good. I get some good stuff going on here. Like right now, I have 24. It's kind of funny. It's just like YouTube and any social media. There's highs and lows. It's kind of silly. But yeah. All right. Looking over the Book of Vile Darkness, it doesn't seem like it would really affect Vecna as an encounter much, if at all. Oh, okay. That's good to know, Game Fools. Thanks for looking into that. I appreciate it. That 41. I don't know what that was about. I gotta put that away. Any YouTube chatter in chat? Like right now? All right, let's get back to Magnomalo here. So we have our size in, and we have 18 D12 hit dice with a Constitution bonus of 24. Should be a CR 24 now that we are in the skills area here, and we're looking at the top for saving throws. So we'll go ahead and modify that for 3 to 4, giving us a +2 effective bonus. We have some damage resistances, but since we are over CR 16, we're not going to bother putting those in because honestly, it doesn't matter. At CR 26 or 24, this is only 1 times the hit points, and there's no bonus here. And then we do have damage immunities to fire and poison, but because it's only 2 conditions, we're not going to put that in. Generally speaking, you need at least 3 to trigger that effect. Courage, thank you so much for joining. So I know this is unrelated, but can you do Death Knight at some point? I wish I could stay longer, but it's late where I'm from. Actually, I already have the Death Knight worked out as a shorts if you want to go ahead and take a look. If you go to my channel, let's see here, you go to the channel page, and then you go over to the little search icon, and you hit up Death Knight. Should be the first one. And there you go. You can check out the Death Knight. I don't remember how it came in, so I won't ruin the surprise, but definitely go ahead and check it out. And thanks for stopping by, Courage. And good night to you if you're heading to bed. I know it's late for me. It's like 20 minutes to midnight at the moment. So late night, a real late night one for me. Okay. So we got everything covered here in the skills area for Magnomalo. We're going to go into the action section now, and we're going to hit up these 3 legendary resistances. So we're going to pop that on and give ourselves +90 effective hit points. And then after that, we have Hellish Weapons. The weapons attacks are magical, deal an extra 10 points of damage, including the attacks. We don't have to worry about that. We have a Pounce, which is nice, so we'll go ahead and throw that in. And Pounce deals, let's see here. It looks like this one doesn't do any actual damage. Hits with the claws on the same attack. The creature's saving throw will be knocked prone. If the target is prone, makes one bite attack against it as a bonus action. Oh, okay. So we could throw in the bite attack as the damage here for the Pounce. So we'll go ahead and do that, which is, let's see here, we're looking at what is that? 20.5 plus 10.5 for a total 31 on the Pounce damage, which in effect we'll only get once. Oh shoot! Okay. Sorry, Courage. I didn't realize. Yeah, they really need to add that in on the phone. I'm surprised they haven't added that in. Soak Soccer, have you done Assassin yet? If not, I would love to see that short in the future. I don't know. Let me see here. We'll go to the studio, the back end. You can see everything that's going on. And Assassin, I don't think I have. Nope, I haven't. So I will add that to my list, which is much different now than it used to be. Thank you, Soaked Soccer, for the suggestion, and that will be out the following week, not next week, but the following one, since this is what's going on next week. All right, and let's see here. Back to the calculator. We've got the probably if it's going to be in the if it was like from Volo's guide or Mordenkainen's and then it got bumped up to Monsters of the Multiverse, then yes, it will be the new Assassin. And then I know there's one person on my channel that likes to go back and check the old ones to see how it looks, so I'll let him take care of the comparisons. Napoleon, I don't think we'll ever see higher than 30 CR, since in the book CR 30 is the highest they calculate for. Wish they would have made him a CR 30 though. Yeah, CR 30 technically is their highest for 5e, and I know a lot of people complain like, oh, 30's not that high. Technically, that is the highest you can go in 5e. That is God status in 5e standards. I know in 3rd edition and 3.5, God status was like CR 99. When someone requested me to look at the Time Dragons, which were like a CR 90, which was insane. So, yeah, CR 30 is God level in 5e, unfortunately. But I am looking at extending this chart here for CR 30 to 50 because technically Tiamat's original form from the Rise of Tiamat and the Tarask are higher than CR 30 because of the limitations of where these cap off at. So that's going to be in the works for my tool here, extending that chart properly. Okay, moving into our actions for the Magnomalo, we have 3 attacks, 2 with its claws and 1 with its tail, or uses its hurl hellfire thrice. That's awesome. They put thrice. That's so funny. Okay, so let's see here. I can't get back that. I can't buy that. That's really funny. Okay, so 14 to hit. The Hellfire, though, is got a weaker 2 hit, so more than likely you wouldn't want to use the Hellfire if you could get away with it. You'd want to use the melee more because you're guaranteed to hit with those with a plus 14 versus the plus 9. Let's see here. Gamefuls, I think CR 30 stat blocks usually come with disclaimers to the effect of, this is an avatar of blank, not their true unrestrained power, but I could be wrong. Yes, thrice is 3 times, as far as I'm taking it, Joe Math. At least for God-type entities. Yeah, I feel that's pretty much the same way, Gamefuls. Like, from what I know of the Rise of Tiamat, even though Tiamat's technical stat was something like CR 45 or something, I have it in my shorts if she's not restrained. There's ways for the players to diminish her power, and then she gets lower and lower and easier to defeat in her true form. So you're not even really fighting Tiamat in her unbridled fury if you do everything right in that campaign. Okay, so our bite here, we have, let's see here. Oh, got more chat. CW, does that mean our kobolds are 300% closer to godhood in 5e from CR99? Yes, sure. Not in, at least not where I'm from, Clawpaw. Thrice is something, very rare to hear anyone actually say. Okay. Let's see here. Back where I was. Bite. Okay, so the bite is, oh yeah, we did this one. 20.5 plus 10.5 for that. The claw is 17.5 plus another 10.5 for poison damage. And I'm adding in 0.5s because we have an odd number of dice, and odd number of dice always get a 0.5. Because if you take the literal average of a D8 and count up 1, 2, 3 and do all that and then divide it by 8, you actually get 4.5 is the average. So that's why we always add in a 0.5 when we have odd numbers here. And then we have the tail, which is dealing 26.5 plus 10.5 poison damage. And then the hurlfire, which I don't recommend using, which is just a measly 21 points of damage. And it's no 0.5 because it's an even number of dice. Okay. So for our multi-attacks, we have 2 claws and 1 tail. So we have 28 times 2 plus a tail attack. And the hellfire used thrice. Oh, that's really good. We'll take that and multiply it by 3. So our multi-attack is going to definitely be better in melee at 93. But, of course, use the hurlfire before getting into melee combat, or however the approach should be for this monster. And then we finally have some legendary actions of move. The Magnomalo moves up to its speed without provoking attacks of opportunity. Now, this is an interesting one because I had spoken about this last week, and when a monster is technically moving without provoking attacks of opportunity, that's pretty much the same as teleporting, and teleporting I always award effective hit points. So we have a speed of 40, and that's not too terribly far, so I would suggest, like a level 1 spell worth of effective DPR, which would be 11. So we could, in essence, add 11 effective DPR for the move, and I'm just going to put that in here, and if we do that, we could say, oh, well, we could move 3 times, and just do 11 times 3. Then on top of that, we could also do a tail attack, which was number 3 here. And we can do that 3 times. And obviously we will want to do the tail attack over moving if need be, for a total of 111 damage for the 3 legendary actions. Or we could do a hellfire and then a tail attack or a move. But in this case it would be a tail attack, so we would do the hellfire fling of 21 plus a tail attack of 37 for a total of 58. So the most amount of damage we're going to get is from 3 tail attacks at 111. A little ant crawling on me. Okay, so now that we have all of our damage worked out for the Magnomalo, let's see what our rounds of combat are going to look like. And it's pretty much going to be the same every round of combat to get the most amount of damage out. For round 1, it's just going to be the same as round 2 and 3. We're going to do the multi-attack of 2 tails and a claw. And we are factoring in the pounce as well, because the pounce is on the side here, which I'm surprised they put the attack in over here, but whatever. So we have our pounce damage in here from the bite. We do that once. We get 1 pounce in the whole combat in theory, unless we move to a new target, and then we go from there. So pounce is being factored in for 1 round. And then we would do the, the 2 claw attacks in the tail, plus our extra tail attacks here, and we're just going to rinse and repeat that for rounds 2 and 3. And it looks like we are actually coming in a little under. We actually have an overrated monster here, I think. Let's see what happens if we add in immunities, because this person may have added in fire and poison immunities. Yes, that's what I figured. Okay. They took in the fire and poison and factor that into the immunities. I wouldn't factor those in because, 1, there's only 2 conditions here. Although fire and poison are very common types, I wouldn't add them in. So if we go back to none, this is the true CR for the Magnomalo. A CR 23, that's not too terribly far off. I mean, it's only 1 step down. And at these levels, this is going to be one heck of a fight, regardless if it's a 23 or a 24. So I'm going with... I would say, sure, it's even rated, even though it's 1 under the printed, and it's overrated technically. I don't see why this, just use it as a 23 or mark it as a 24. Immunities and the resistances at this level are going to be bypassed anyways. So, overrated just like in the game. That's funny, Clawpaw. Okay, let me see here. I wanted to ask if it ever matters that a monster has magical attacks against the party. Yeah, in some instances it does. When you have... There are cases where you could get resistances to non-magical attacks. Probably special armors and whatnot. And then going from there. I never knew that interactions with heavy weapon feat. Okay. Hey, Drake Terry, thanks for joining and stopping by. Yes, I certainly can. Here we go. Let me zoom out a little bit. Actually, there we go. There is your Magnomalo. Drake, thanks for stopping by. Magic Missile? Well, that just hits. And unless there's resistances to force damage or immunities to force damage, I don't know. All right, and there we go. We had we looked at the just released Vecna, the Archlich. Yes, the Archlich from D&D Beyond. If you haven't got it, I would highly recommend getting yourself that copy of the Vecna Dossier. Apparently, it's only going to be around for a little while, and then it gets, I guess, set to pay to play or something. So might as well grab it while it's free now. And we took a look at the Magnomalo from the Monster Hunter Rise conversion done by, let's see here, homebrew by Jam Homebrew on Reddit. They did a pretty good job. Although, like I said, I wouldn't bother with the fire immunities, which they took into account for. Let's see here. I think it's last until the 16th. Don't quote me on that, though. Yeah, I have no idea. It was just my one Discord buddy on there, Clorox. He was like, yo, Andy, you got to get this quick, and then let's take a look at it tonight. I was like, you got it, dude. We're going to look at it. And they got a bunch of people talking to me about it, too, so... Yeah, I think we'll call it there. It's a few minutes to midnight for me here in New York, and I just had to jump on it. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to do a live stream, and especially taking a look at Vecna here. So yeah, grab the content. It's right on the homepage of D&D Beyond. If you haven't got it yet, you can go in, log in, and then grab it and claim it for yourself. Pretty cool. All right, well, I think that we're going to unfortunately cut this a short one tonight. And I think we will end here. Let's see here. Gameful, super glad I managed to catch one of these. Yeah, thank you, Gamefools, for stopping by. It was great having you, chatting with you. It was fun. Good stream. Glad I was able to watch the whole thing tonight. Until next time, my friends. Yes, Soakstalker, thank you for joining. We'll see you next time. Drake, Terry, unfortunately, it just seems to be the way things work. No big deal. You still stop by and hang out and chatting, so thank you for swinging by. Joe Math, as always, good to see you too. Thanks for stopping by. Clawpaw, CW, and who else did I miss? I think, Napoleon Mitchell, yep, and Courage W as well. I think that's everyone. Thank you all for swinging by this super late D&D CR Exposed here on YouTube with me, Andrew, and thank you all for watching and joining in. You're all amazing and awesome people, and for anyone else that watches this later on, thank you for watching to this point here. You're all amazing people as well, and this is me, Andrew, asking the question, are your encounters even rated? Thank you all, and I'll see you Monday for the next Monsterverse Monster live stream, where we're going to pit bandits versus ogres. So there's your little sneak peek for that one. Let's see how it works out. And I'm going to be modifying the CRs. Well, not really the CRs, but I'm going to be modifying the stat blocks a little bit so that the CRs all mesh together, because there are some under and overrated monsters in that mashup. You're very welcome, CW. And let's see here. Clawpaw. Well, I wish you all meow-wonderful morning or night, and great stream again, even if a little bit short, but all good. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. And this Monday's Monster vs. Monster live stream is Clawpaw's request of bandits versus ogres. So we'll see how they fare against each other. All right, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. And again, I will see you all Monday, hopefully. Take care. Have a good night. And until next time.